Cool. I said recording on this computer. So great. Here we are, guys. We don't have much time today, and I'll just let Ines jump right into it.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, we only have 1 hour. Actually, I think during this hour, we're also gonna discuss together how we're gonna do these workshops from now on. So this is just a first idea. Let's try something out together, and then let's like find a format that we could continue in the future as well. Because originally I thought that we would kind of all work on our own cases throughout all of the classes, but then when we discussed it with Ashwin, then we realized it's maybe not possible to do all cases in all classes. So maybe we'll have to kind of pick a case for each class, and then so that everybody gets to kind of work on their own case during the classes, and
Exactly.
we can rotate a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So the framework that I built for today was based on the classics decision making and choice design notes that Ashwin started with us. So that was pretty cool.
Ines, could you get your volume up a little bit? Your mic volume.
Like this?
Volume. That's perfect.
Better.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, it was actually really helpful, this summary that Ashwin made for us, because it would have been really difficult to distill all the information from the entire class into something workable in the workshop. So what I just did was basically take all of those notes that he put in the summary, and then took a couple of frameworks that we used during the class that we could be working on when looking at decision making and choice design. But as we were discussing this with Ashwin, we also talked about how important it is to choose the point in time that we are talking about when it comes to this choice or decision making process. So, for example, in our case, we have an app that is it's a micro mentoring peer-to-peer learning application. So it's like, are we focusing on the decision to download the app, or are we focusing on a decision that you have to make while you are onboarding on the app on kind of which kind of profile you are creating, or is it even a decision that you have to make during while you're using the app? You know, there's lots of moments where decision or choice can play a role.
Yeah.
So we were really talking about how to choose that particular moment.
Just a quick note there on the topic itself is in the examples that you just gave, Ines. For example, if the user has just onboarded onto your or just downloaded your app, and you want them to create a profile, sure, that's a decision moment, but as a user, for me, my decision is only whether I want to create it or not, right? Do I do it later? Do I do it now? Or do I do it not at all? If you're giving them that option. So that's one kind of decision. And when we're talking about choice design, we're talking about how do you help the user choose between a number of options. So choice making is also a decision point, but there are decision moments which don't have so much choice, basically. The choice the user has is progress or not progress, create a profile or not create a profile. But once they do create a profile, if you want them to, have 4 different, if you give them a menu of choices and say, you want to learn from, which peer do you want to learn from? And you show them 20 possible peers. That's a real choice design problem. You see the difference? Where the user has lots of choices. So just a little, like a topical note there.
Yeah, that's a good point. And actually, one of the choices that we have already is like, are you there to mentor, or are you there to learn, or are you there to do both? So that would be one of the choices.
Yes.
So we were talking about the moment of the decision making. So Ashwin pointed out that to find this moment and to define the moment, we actually have the behavior design canvas to use as the tool. I was first on the idea of using a customer journey map and then looking throughout the customer journey on which kind of moment it would be. But then actually we have this behavior design canvas tool that is used for that. So I don't know, Ashwin, if you want to
Yeah.
explain more on that.
Yeah, I think one thing is it's pretty important at this point is how the other participants understand this task and what we're trying to do in this workshop as well. And more importantly, how we understand your product. Do we have the same mental model, even at a very rudimentary level, to be able to do this work? So that would be it would be worth to have a quick discussion and at least get everyone's alignment on that. And the other thing is, well, what you just said, that actually I would see that the journey is, it's kind of like a, in digital product design, you can't go without designing the journey. You are at some point going to design the journey. The only thing to keep in mind is when to use what, or rather how to use these different frameworks together. You have the journey, you have the canvas, which goes deep into every moment, right? You pick a particular moment in the journey and you say, well, what is the user doing currently and what do we want them to do, right? And then we look at why and how they might do that, right? That's what the canvas does. And with what we studied in choice, we have less of a framework. We have just a bunch of elements, what goes into choice design, what might be some principles from nudge theory to think about choice design. So clearly the one on the right, the choice design part, comes after the journey and the canvas. Now, in this workshop, you can say, we know the journey. It's our first onboarding journey is these 5 moments, and we are picking moment 2, and we're going to do a canvas on it, right? Or you can skip the journey and say, well, we are just trying to design for this moment, and give us the moment. It's up to you how you want to use our input. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Great.
I think that makes a lot of sense. So kind of in this case, the first step is the behavior design canvas. The second step is the choice design. I don't know if there was a name for this framework in your slides.
It's not even a framework. It's just like the steps or the elements of choice design. Yeah.
And then the very last one that we didn't even talk about yet is the nudges framework as well, which would be then once you're going even more into detail into the problem.
Yes. How does this ring on Katie and Tom quickly before we get into the workshopping itself?
Good.
Okay.
Great. Wow.
Does it make any sense? Because me and Ashwin, we've been talking about this for like 2 days now. So to us, it makes total sense. What does it make sense to you guys?
Yeah, I think, and I don't know how this pertains to today, but I think it would be good to just have an overview of your project just to start, because I have like no context of like what your project is about. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, same. I not like you mentioned a couple of things about like what I think is already about the case, like the moments or something like that. So that kind of went by over my head. I'm not sure what we're talking about here.
Yeah,
but,
I guess neither of you guys were able to see the PDF.
Yeah, I looked at the PDF, but maybe I didn't read it like deeply enough to really get, what's the connection here. But
yeah, I think I'm on the same page as Tom and Katie on that. I looked at the PDF, but that's all I understand about the product.
Yeah, if I switch tabs, are you now seeing the drop my slides? Okay, cool. So yeah, this pitch deck was not made for this particular class, so it's just the general pitch deck on the app itself. But if we go through it really quickly, so basically Dropby, it's kind of how would you say it, like speed dating, but it's an app. So, and we're talking about speed dating, especially for the purposes of learning and mentoring. So in Dropby, we call it Playground for Great Ideas. It's an on-demand micro-mentoring platform with people from all over the world. So you basically enter tags on what are the topics that you are interested to learn about, or the tags that you're really knowledgeable in and therefore, interested to share on. And then within that app, it will match you with other participants with similar knowledge, similar interests, and it will take you through this kind of like a speed dating cycle where you have a couple of minutes to exchange knowledge with each other and the other users on the platform. So that's basically the idea behind it, is to get connected to really high value connections, have this couple of minutes to see if you're syncing up. And if it all goes well, both of you at the end of the call will, rate each other's with, good reviews in a way that you get matched. And when you're a match, that means that, you can continue your networking, your chatting, your learning together from there on. At the moment, we have 2 strands. So one of them is hosting a Dropby Now. So it's basically immediately you go on the platform and immediately you start matching with users all over the world based on these tags. Or you could do scheduling a Dropby event, which would mean that, for example, Ashwin wants to host an event tomorrow on behavior design. So he will create an event called Behavior Design and start inviting people, sharing it among his networks. And then people within that event will start to be getting matched with each other also based on their tags and areas of interest as well. So these are the 2 strands: hosting now, so immediate speed dating one after another, or the Dropby event, which is then topic specific. So yeah, like I said, it's like speed dating for learning. So it's about getting connected, sharing and learning on the topics that you're interested in right now. I think we don't need to go into the pricing and target market yet. That's it. So it's on one hand, it's really about targeted meeting because it has to do with tags. On the other hand, it's also about embracing the power of serendipity. So bringing you to people and connections that you wouldn't have been brought to otherwise. So this is the app.
I actually understood it so much better. Jamie's trying to enter. I actually understood the app so much better from your brief than from the deck, I must say.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Good to know. Hey, Jamie.
Hi, Jamie.
Hey, Ness. Yes. Hey, Tom.
Hello.
Yeah.
How you guys doing?
Good. Nice to hear you.
What
And
time
yes.
is it over there? It's looking really dark.
It's freaking early.
7:13.
Wow.
We're just getting started.
Mm-hmm.
7. Crap.
Yeah. How about over there?
You guys, we are pushing the ante in terms of how soon we can bring you online. It's gone from 9 till 7, and now
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have some
5
creative
o'clock.
ideas for you.
5 o'clock yoga next.
Ooh.
And brainstorming. Yeah.
We get some
So-
hot yoga in here. And you got a deal.
Yeah, I'd be up for that.
See?
So you're not gonna join
I miss
Cheers
you
with me
guys.
yet,
Oh,
but I guess
Ooh,
later.
wow. Welcome to the
Oh, cheers.
Nordics.
It's not 7 a.m. here.
Fair enough.
Well, so then,
that a
so then it's
cider?
okay for us to join you there. Where are you? Where are you at, Ines?
I'm in
You like in an
Utrecht,
airport?
Mall in Utrecht, in the Netherlands.
Oh, okay.
That's a
Cool.
mall.
Just had lunch and didn't have time to make it back to the co-working space, so here I am
Oh,
at the
right.
Lebanese place.
Wow. Awesome.
Very cool.
Oh, Cool. Okay. Jamie, what you just basically missed a really quick intro to our micro mentoring app. So the
Okay.
idea is that each of the classes will kind of take one example of one of our cases and then all together work on that so that after the class, all of us can go and take the frameworks and whatever we did in that workshop and do it on our own cases.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it turns out that we should do just one case. So I just introduced our micro mentoring platform. It's what should I say? It's like speed dating for learning. So you have tags of what interests you, what you are knowledgeable in, and other users in the app also have tags, and therefore you get matched based on what you'd like to talk about. And then this way we're matching people to network, to share knowledge with each other on those topics.
Okay. So is it over anything in particular, any topics, or is there like,
So we
Rich
have
topics.
two
oh,
two
I didn't
ways.
see your
So
screen share.
Oh,
I-
now you're seeing it.
So I didn't notice it was on the other screen over here. Yeah.
So yeah, it's one of the ways that you use it is to start immediately. So basically you enter and then directly you start getting matched with others. So it's not on any particular topic, it's based on the tags that you have given. So if you put in blockchain as a tag and you match with a blockchain tag person, then yes, you talk about blockchain. But then on the other hand, it's also an event-based thing. So it could be, for example, Ashwin tomorrow decides to host a behavior design event, and then everybody who's invited to that event knows that they're talking about behavior design, but still they are getting matched based on the tags and their knowledge and experience.
Mm, okay, so it can be one-to-one or one-to-many.
One-to-one always. So it's
It's always
like a
one-to-one.
speed dating. So
Oh,
rotating.
okay. Okay, got it. So some
And-
events will have like lots of one-to-one connections.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Rotating.
Yeah, I love that. I don't know if you guys have gone to any virtual events that have like networking like this,
Haven't.
like one-to-one.
One-to-one, I used to organize them myself on Zoom.
Oh,
But-
okay.
But I haven't been a participant in any. Have you?
Okay. Yeah, Katie and I went to one event that had a virtual event. They had it on a platform called Hopin, and they had a networking section, which I mean, I've also done some networking on Zoom in like breakout rooms, and it's sort of whatever. Some people are tossed in breakout rooms, have a random number of people, and that's whatever.
Okay.
But then this event had a specific networking section, from separate from the main stage, and then you kind of jump in and be like, all right, and find a random person from the event you haven't talked to, and then put you together, be like a 5-minute timer, and then you be talking, and then you could like request more time to talk to them, and anyway, this was like, I just mentioned it because this was like the best part of the event. Like
Oh,
that's like
cool.
a really, yeah. Everyone loved hopping on there, and you could just talk to a new person. If you enjoy talking to them, you could extend the time, and and then connect, exchange like LinkedIn details like really easily. And anyway,
That's a really interesting use case there.
That is
Mhm.
definitely, yeah. If you can see, like here, we have this like continue your chat, yes, no. So it's the same idea.
Mhm. Yeah, very cool. So yeah, something, it's a very, very potent thing. Like it, yeah. So want to toss that in there. Love the idea.
Yeah,
Nice.
same.
Can you drop me maybe the details of that event in Slack or something? Because I want to
Sure.
do my research after this.
Sure.
Okay, so that is the case, and so we were talking about class 6, which was on decision and choice. So now it's about, as we spoke before, like which moment do we want to focus on, what decision are we focusing on? And I thought about starting from the very beginning. It's the choice or decision hold on, which one is it that we have? It's the decision to go for peer-to-peer mentoring on the app versus other types of learning.
Okay. What are the other types of learning hypothetically possible?
I mean, classroom professor attending events, online
Oh.
course.
Through this
No.
app?
No. This app would be a choice.
As a
Okay, so where would that choice be available to the user? So if I, let's say I downloaded Instagram, right? It's not giving me an option if I can post on Instagram feed or anywhere else. It's the whole function of the app is to get me to post on Instagram. And from the way I see your app, the whole function of the app is to get me into this peer-to-peer networking / learning mode. But I might be doing it asynchronously with Ines, who is in Belgium, but I might match with her and decide to start doing it now or start doing it later, or I might do it in the context of an event. But in both these cases, I'm still choosing to use the app and start a peer-to-peer session, right? So what other forms of learning? I don't see what other options of learning would be available
Within
to the
this app,
user.
no, there's
Okay.
no other. So I thought that we would just think about the decision to go for learning in an app instead of deciding to learn in other places. But I don't know if
Right.
that's
Yeah, it makes sense, but that
possible.
decision is happening outside of the app. I mean, it's happening probably, for example, it's happening through on a learning platform or on a website, let's say. Let's say you go to a publishing platform like, I don't want to say Medium, but something else where there are a lot of options for me. And then I see an ad from Dropby, or I see some trigger that tries to get me to download the app, right? It's there as a user that I'm making this decision if I want to go in for Dropby or not, right?
I see what you
So
mean. Yeah.
you see what I mean? So I think, of course, we can work on that decision as well, but there, even though the user is making a decision, it's much more about how you market and the value proposition, the story that you propose to the user, how attractive, how clear it is. So the clearest panel I can think of is, say, Clubhouse, right? Which grew really quickly because it had a really compelling concept and value proposition. But the real decision making, I think, in some ways begins after I download the app, right? So just a thought, just to be aware of the exact context where this decision is being made. But honestly, we can work on anything.
Okay.
It's
So-
whatever you want to get clarity on.
Yeah, no, at first I wanted to get clarity on the decision to do peer-to-peer micro mentoring, but like I see your point that we don't have one space where you have that as an option versus the other options. Like there's no page that has all of those like side by side.
Exactly. It might be, but it's very hard to tell right now where that might be.
So could it be, I'm thinking about like when you're onboarding onto the app, you have this choice of, are you here to mentor or are you here to learn, or
Yes.
or both? That could
Yes.
be one of them.
That could be one of them.
Or the choice of which tags you are putting. For example, now we just have empty field. You invent your own tags. We don't have any suggestions to start with.
Okay.
So that could be another one.
Mm-hmm.
Third one is just I don't know if it's just an assumption of mine, but maybe like the decision to really jump onto this this call, because it is a call. So you know, like, okay, now I'm ready to be on video and appear professional and start
Yes.
this networking. So when you go from kind of like the lobby into the actual event and start really seeing and speaking to people.
Exactly.
I
Those
don't
are
know.
all really good points, I think. What do you guys think? And sorry, just a quick note on the learning of behavior design as well. As you guys can see, choosing the moment is a huge deal. It's not obvious at all. And that's why the canvas also, the first part is about what is the current behavior and what's the desired behavior. The reason that's there is so it can help the entire team be very conscious about what is the moment in which we are designing this behavior in. And in a way, you can see, Ines, that this is a conversation that you can have with your entire product team and say, hey, there are these 3 or 4 key moments where users need to make some really important decisions for them to progress into the app. What might those moments be? What do you think? Right? But I think the ones you suggested here are all worth looking at. What do you guys think?
I was curious about maybe a different angle. I think in your slides that you had tags for conversation. So I think like that's where I would get paralyzed in choice of like,
There you go.
well, what do I want to learn today?
Mhm.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. At the moment, we kept it open just because we thought this way we also collect a bit of data, what people want to talk about without influencing them. But I see your point in a way that I think my tags would kind of change daily.
Right. So thinking it'd be good on this topic of tags. This will be likely a thing that will be evolving, well, you should go through like many iterations of the tags, because you've like one, having no tags there, having to put everything, having to write your own tags is paralyzing. There's nothing there. And on the flip side, you dump in a whole bunch of different tags choices. That's also paralyzing to sort through and like all these different things. So sort of want to dial in that sweet spot of, okay, the minimum number of tags that's going to cover the maximum number of contexts or situations that people want to discuss.
Yeah.
And so my first reaction would be to find I guess your early adopters, try some different groups of people, and then start from there on who is still like really has like a use case for this, and that you could kind of reach with marketing and would really benefit from this experience. And then that can simplify this giant list and start with some narrow, like, are you interested in networking? You're interested in learning about cryptocurrency, or whatever it is, and have some more focused tags to kind of direct it. And get people connecting together.
Yeah, it gets really tricky because also our target groups at the moment are so wide, like it could be university students, it could be startups, it could be these big events like, Web Summit or Slush, or, it's.
Yeah.
And I
Pretty big.
came from the EU policy side myself, and I was like, I would love to have this to talk about governance, so it really expands.
Mhm. See, if I hopped on the app, I probably wouldn't have typed e-governance in as a tag.
Right. We wouldn't have matched.
Sorry, Ness.
Hey, there's always tomorrow.
Right.
Tom. What's
Yeah, one thing I'm a little unsure about still is that like how would the sort of ad hoc drop by work? Like, do you envision the users just like kind of having the app open at all times and then you get a little notification that like, hey, uh, somebody wants to talk to you maybe? Or do you like enter into this like I have 15 minutes to chat with somebody, and then during that time period you would be like match with a
Yeah,
person?
I would imagine that only online users match with only online users at that time. So, I mean, we could, I think Clubhouse also had this kind of notification every now and again, like, hey, come in now, there's this interesting talk or something like this. Like, could use something like that to try and get people to come in. But originally, I thought as soon as you have a wide enough user base that there's always people online, then not matching with people who are not online at that moment.
Yeah. And then one kind of like use case that comes to mind is that I've been kind of using recently is trying to find like job interview mentors, like how do you get into Amazon or something like that? Like what's the process like? I think like the sooner you get a really niche or like sort of clearly delineated user group, the easier it is to just like try to push the MVP out rather than just like try to cover university students and
Yeah.
entrepreneurs and e-governance enthusiasts.
And fishing and
Exactly.
yeah.
No, it's true. We thought about recruitment as well, that it could be used by recruiters to meet potential candidates quickly, as speed dating. But it could be almost like what you were saying, almost similar to like Glassdoor or something, to speak with others working there and to ask how did they get there and how was the interview process.
Yeah, and there's a lot of these like free mentoring services already, but they're more kind of like book a time on my calendar type of thing, not kind of I need it right now type
Yeah.
of thing. Mm,
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
So is Ines, it's a little background here. What's the place that your startup's at right now, and what role are you playing in it? So we have a better idea.
So I just joined Castle Labs at the beginning of July. So I'm very, very new in the company. I joined at the COO, so I'm helping now push this out. We
You said
have
POO?
COO.
Oh, COO. Okay.
So I'm helping to push this out. At the moment, we have a working prototype. It's available on TestFlight, so not yet in the App Store.
Okay.
But we aim to have something ready, hopefully with some users already by the time of Web Summit, the conference in Lisbon. It's at the beginning of November. So
Okay.
by then we aim to have a first MVP with some early testers, users ready on the App Store.
Okay. And can you tell us a little bit more about the team?
Yeah, of course. Sure. Team.
Yes.
There we go.
Got a slide for it.
So we have Ferko, he's the CEO. I met him at university, actually. We both studied international design business management. But this program is multidisciplinary, that you get students from all the different schools. So I came from School of Architecture to study design business management. He came from the business background himself. Then we have Jesse, he's our CTO. He does, all the developing and, all the technical stuff. And then we have Peter, who is also a developer, but he's also our head of engineering and data science. So he's a data scientist as well. So he's the one who's bringing a little bit of the AI machine learning flavor to the whole matching.
Cool. And also out of curiosity, what are you what are you guys building the platform on top of? Like what platform are you using? How's it being written?
I have
Yeah.
technical stuff. So I mean, I know that we're doing both Apple and Android now. So Apple is coming out first quite soon, but I think we're quite close to getting it out on
Doing that.
Android almost
Okay.
at the same time. That's
Oh.
all I know.
Okay. So
What, the Windows Phone?
yeah, right. So it's the iOS first, and then Android is also going to be coming out soon, or
Android
is
is
it?
also on the work. So it was basically Peter joined us now almost 2 months ago. So he started on the Android. So it was Jesse who was doing it on Apple all this time, on the
Oh,
iPhone all
okay.
this time, and now Peter joined to get it done on Android as well.
Android. Got it. Okay. All right. Yeah, it's a good context. So yeah. So then my instinct would be to like I guess narrow down the choice, come back to the choice onto like what's gonna be most effective for you and for what's gonna make the biggest impact. So like going down the hierarchy, say like making a choice of, is somebody going to hop in a session, and or are they going to extend the session to the like one-on-one chat they have? That
Yes.
choice is so far down, like there's so many other choices to be made before that point that would totally break it and never even get to that choice. So yeah.
Jamie, by that you mean other choices in life? So things like your personal life and your work life and your calendar, and all of those have to be navigated before I can commit to jumping into a session right now.
Yeah, I mean that's true. I meant within the app, assuming it was already
yeah.
like, oh, okay, I want to jump in, but
Right.
that's even another level before. Like, hey,
Right.
there are
Okay.
all these choices in my day.
I was just checking
Yes.
which one you were referring to, but I agree that also inside the app, and I think that's a huge. It makes a lot of sense that Ines, that you guys think about that very carefully, about the rules of engagement. When does the user decide to join a session? Do they, like, the challenge is, how do you help them join when they want to join but still get the best that they can get out of that session? So designing that moment, I think, is a big one, because you're going to have all kinds of different user expectations around it. Some users might say, I matched with Jamie, and he looked like a great match, and he looked like a great sparring partner. What if we're working on the same project, similar projects? Then it's a rich match, right? Then I'm going to be rather disappointed if I lose that match after that event. Jamie's gone. Should I just look for him on LinkedIn? How do I continue that relationship?
It does collect your connections. So all your connections, everybody you matched with, are saved in your connections on the
Okay. Yeah. That's, for example, that kind of thing, And then the next session that I have with Jamie, I'll probably just reach out to him and on LinkedIn and start to have a professional relationship, collaboration there outside the app. So how do you bring as much of that possible into the app itself, right? It's not just a matchmaking tool, but it's actually a conversational tool.
Exactly.
So in many ways, it's
that's a good point.
So in many ways, it's like that moment of spending time together, the moment of But if you are a peer-to-peer networking tool, then you want to ensure that the networking happens on your app. And not because once I know this person, there's a million ways I can network with that person.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Double-edged sword there.
Anyways, but it's
I feel like still probably like the biggest choice, which I guess you can tell us if you feel like there is the friction there, but it is just to choose to start. Like if you're at an event,
yes,
there's a lot of other things you could be doing at the event.
yes,
And so you have to make the choice to jump into networking. And especially at a live event, it can be really draining and overwhelming. And like you're tired, you want to go take a break, but you're like, no, I should take this time to network. And you might need that nudge or whatever to like actually start.
yes.
Or if you're like more introverted and you're like nervous, you're not like as confident or whatever.
Yes.
Right. That choice may even be like confronting your fear or anxiety of like getting a random person and needing to try and talk to them for I guess like Kate was saying, even as an introvert.
To those 2 points, I think like Katie mentioned earlier, this huge choice problem of how to present the topics to the user and help them make a good decision on
What
like
tags to use.
yeah, it's not just the tags. It's almost like if you take a topic called AI, there's things that I could be wanting to learn about AI. I could be wanting to discuss an AI project. I could be wanting to catch up on learn from someone else's project. I could be wanting to discuss industry developments. So I feel the matches would be, it's almost like in dating as well, right? You try to qualify those matches. What are you looking for? It's almost like saying, if you say AI and architecture and design, it's almost like just choosing the gender in the dating context. I'm a man looking for a woman. But then immediately under the category of woman, there is a lot of different specifics that I might be looking for. And professionals would be looking for even more specific things. And the more you can match those, I think the better off the matches would be. So the decision, for example, YouTube Music does something interesting. When you open up the app, all music apps, they try to get a sense of which genres you're into so they can serve you better, right? And YouTube Music is trying to catch up with Spotify and all the rest, of course. So when you open up the app, they show you these little thumbnails of lots of different artists. They say, pick 5 artists you like. And for example, you might see Aphex Twin, Metallica, I don't know, Bob Dylan, very, very different genres, right? If you pick Metallica, it reveals more metal artists. And so it helps you go deeper while making choices. It helps you go deeper into a particular genre. It's one strategy, but that's choice design there, where you're quickly in 2 or 3 steps, you're taking the user from, I'm interested in AI, but in AI, I'm interested in deep reinforcement learning, something else and something else, 2 or 3 of the top trends. I'm interested in marketing, but in marketing, I'm interested in growth and something else. So when you get the user to invest something at that step, you can make better matches with other users. So I think that whole moment which Katie talked about, how are you going to help me choose what I want to be here for? Why does this deserve my time? That could be done. You could work on that quite a bit.
Yeah, and I think there's like a choice above, which I think you've probably thought about, Ines, but it's the spontaneous versus like I have an agenda. So even in like real life when you're at an event, you come into the event, you're like, okay, I want to meet a developer, I want to meet this person, or I have a question that I need answered by someone who
Exactly.
understand, or you don't, and you're just there. So like, yeah, I think that's what your first like question is, like,
Mhm.
are you trying to mentor, are you trying to answer a question? So
Right.
I don't, yeah, it could be even beyond tags. Like,
This is awesome.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jamie, Katie, you opened up something there. I think actually Ines brought it up earlier as well, but don't you guys feel like a fundamental choice is whether I want to mentor or whether I want to learn? Because
It's just
those are
network in a way.
exactly, or learn, like I'm seeking a mentor, whatever you call that, mentee, right? Because that's a very fundamental frame of mind to say, I'm here to mentor or I'm here to seek mentoring. And that's probably a fundamental choice you would want the user to make
Yeah,
before they go in.
those two we already thought about was, either choosing I want to mentor or I want to learn or both. But what Katie just now said was really interesting because sometimes you just want to network and it can go beyond the tag. So in a way, if you have already matched with 10 people and all of those 10 people have matched with this one person, then that one person might be a high valued connection also to your consideration in a way. So it can go beyond the tags and it can go beyond learning and mentoring to, hey, here's a high valued connection. But that's just writing it in rock, not narrowing it down. It just doesn't help.
well, I think it would be good to choose a context for like where they're using it. Like if you guys are gonna like aim to have this for this conference, I think it'd be good to say, okay, you know, how can we help the choices at this specific conference?
Yes.
That's
Maybe.
cool.
And also having an idea of an agent or a user is important because not all users are alike. So you're going to have to pick some user to work with first.
Yeah.
And design for.
So so this conference is this a virtual conference? In
It's
person?
physical, actually.
Physical.
Yay, we're going to Lisbon.
Okay. So this networking piece, how does this fit into the physical events?
So, I mean, we're going to the event to launch the product and to get early users and to get kind of, feedback on the idea and things like this. So we're not planning on actually integrating
Okay.
the app in that way.
The-
But we
Okay.
did think of some creative ways of bringing, publicity or attention to the app at the event. Like we could do something like hand out flyers with like join us for an after party and drop by or something, and then everybody is brought to this web summit event where everybody has this, something like this. So we've thought about doing something fun like that,
Okay.
but officially not a part of it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think if you can somehow extend the event like after the official stuff and after the official after party, then like the week after that to like kind of keep connecting, then that's kind of a added value that you can just kind of steal the
Yeah.
attendees.
The
basically.
after party, that's our jam.
Mhm.
I can do that.
And there's free beer.
Exactly. Exactly.
But yeah, this how it fits into what I was thinking is yeah, I mean, I guess what Tom said I think is a really great idea, extending the life of the event, because only in person for a short period of time. And usually, we go to these events, you network, meet all these people, and then that's just gone. Forget about everyone that you met, everything you talked about, maybe one or two pieces, and like that's it. And so being like, okay, this is virtual. After you leave, you could still keep networking, or maybe I don't know. I mean, that might be a choice
That
in
would be
itself
cool.
to come back a week later. Like that might be even a difficult thing to get people to do. So my point,
that's a cool idea.
just thought, yeah. Two things: you might find these people. Are you able to? I guess I would be curious if you could find more about the people that are going to be attending the events. Like if there's like a guest list or people that are interested or have gone to it in the past. If do you have access to any of this data that you think you could dig up?
No, it's very varied. I mean, I think it's 40,000 people, something like that, and it's
For, oh,
ranging
14 or
40
40,000?
40,
Oh,
yeah. So I think it's like ranging from, they have, large corporates over there, they have startups, they have a lot of different
okay.
kinds of people.
Yeah, all right. So that doesn't really narrow anything down.
So again, if you take the moment in the journey, a moment in the journey, to kind of to think about the process, to do anything in this case, at this time, it's like if you take the moment in the journey where I have to choose, I have to find the right level of topic that I want to connect about, right? That's an important point,
Yeah.
right? And if you look at what's happening in choice theory, you guys were discussing both choices in the now and choices across time, right? That's something we spoke about. And choices in the now are those choices which obviously they have an impact just now. But if you start looking at the ones where you say, I want to connect with this person because of a relationship I want to have over a period of time, I want to be connected to this person after the event, I want to extend the event, you're getting into choices across time, right? So that's one thing to keep in mind, that there's two different types of choices there. So let's say we take the simpler one, choices in the now, and we look at this moment where we're trying to help the user figure out how to find the right topic to connect on. And then you start looking at, well, are we designing for a satisficing mindset or a maximizing mindset, right? So then you say, well, there might be people for whom they want to connect with someone right now. The user is basically someone who wants to connect with someone right now and have a conversation right now. And they are okay with having a generic conversation. So the user is, I don't know, like Claire, and she's a data scientist, and she wants to connect right now, and she wants to connect with other cool data scientists, right? That's the mindset you're designing for. So you'd have to pick that as a mindset and build a canvas and a sort of a rough choice architecture for her. That's how what I'm hearing so far right now could be translated into the process. Does that make sense, Ines?
Yeah. What do you think? How should we go forward? Because we have to.
It's up to what you want to get out of the session, really, because it's what problem would you like to solve, really?
Yeah.
From a
No,
product
I
perspective.
think definitely the tags thing would be it, because it's an important decision that you make that really determines the value that you get out of your experience on the app. So I think that's an important one. So what should we do? Should we schedule another call for another time on this same topic? Should I already go on and start to think about filling in this kind of stuff, and then we just kind of talk over it together at the beginning of the next topic? Or what about everybody else's case? How do you want to like go
Mhm.
from here and work on your own cases?
Good question. I think I'm totally up for just like going through one case pretty in depth, because I think that's good for learning. That's just because currently I don't have a really clear idea of what my case would be. Another question is like, how often are we doing these things? I think, and I'm not sure who's who's answering this question.
I guess everybody.
I think it's up to us.
That's good to hear. I'm okay with going down one case deeply. And for me, it's a means to make sure you guys get exposed to all the classes, or as many of the classes as possible, in a live setting. And that will ensure you watch the videos again and read the material and probably do the homework and refresh those concepts. So that's my agenda. How you guys plan to take it together and apply it in what cases, even with what frequency, that's more in your ballpark. And I can probably join most or all of them, because yeah, that's part of my mission here.
Yeah, so I could speak on our end.
Yeah.
We have what Katie and I are working on. We'd also like to go in depth in our case, where we also, and we were chatting about it, we also have some, I guess, questions about like which part to go into, because there's like sort of so many, and like you're bringing up it's like across the experience we have just like this whole array of choices, and so sort of, I guess, and now I'm just speaking out loud now. But it seems like, picking a thing. I mean, one, it's like just like we were talking about now, the range of things, the tags, the video, the connection, all these things. Like, okay, here are the choices, and then here's a choice we're narrowing in on, tags, and then go boom. Okay, now we can dive deeper into tags. What the incentives, the understanding their defaults, and go through the whole template, page on canvas. Think then think we get the most value out of that, and then get to like apply everything to like the specific case, and then the second thing I was thinking was we also aligning it as far as this idea of different topics, of which part of the course to focus on. Like it's it feels like what's, I guess, the overall goal of this should be what is most effective for each of us. As Ashwin was saying, it's like what's the most important thing, like what moves each of our products forward, like what
Exactly.
what's the big thing that we're focused on. And so then maybe so then I don't know how this gets like aligned with the course content, to like what we're facing. Maybe I don't know, maybe that's like a conversation we have with you, Ashwin, and we're like,
exactly. So I mean, just to quickly add to that, exactly what you said, Jamie. So because even though the course is it was linearly delivered, like I've been saying from the beginning, the concepts themselves they're all just interrelated. Behavior design, the whole practice is like a web of different concepts. Now, if we picked a particular, let's say Ines picked up the mentor role here, and she said, we want to design the moment for the mentor, and we want to make it easy for the mentor to choose who to mentor and what to mentor on. That's the moment we're trying to get into. We can then say, hey, okay, after we've done a little bit of choice design, And let's say we're doing the canvas and we say, oh, wow, we need to understand the motivation of this mentor very deeply, or 2 or 3 mentor types, then you might want to refer to the motivation class, right? And use that content. But then if you say, let's gamify it a little bit for the mentor, then we will draw the content from the gamification class. So just think of, the classes and the content of the classes being like a buffet for you. You can pick whatever you want to use. It's all there, but it's exactly up to what you want to do next. And that's why I thought, let's just start at a random place. I said, let's not go linear. Let's just start with choice design. Okay, let's design some choices. The next we might want to design, look at belief, what have you, so it's totally dynamic, and that can be figured out together.
So I feel like for me, this was already like really, really, really useful. I got a lot of ideas, and in a way now we have like distilled it to a moment that I could already think about in filling in these kind of templates. What about you and Jamie for the next class? Do you think that you would be able to come up with a moment that you would want to focus on between you two, or would you rather have a session like we had here today where we together discussed through it and came up with the moment together?
Excellent.
I'd have to think about it more, I guess.
Mhm.
So what if we do next time a similar session on your case? So all of us learn to know your case. We talk through the moment together. And after we've got these 2 cases, then we can start actually working on templates like these.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Jamie, are you frozen?
My video is dropping out.
Oh.
So
Yeah, I think
I'm
part of the problem is figuring out what the problem is.
Yeah.
Or like what the case is.
So should
Um,
we do next time, like, because now we took like 1 hour for my case, so we could do 1 hour for your case. And then I don't know if you want to do another hour and a half to already start working, or would you rather keep the meeting short, like 1 hour at a time?
I'd rather like stay on one person's project and do it continuously, like in a chunk of time. But,
Yeah, in a way, if we had longer time, we could do 1 hour, which is your case, and then we could do another, I don't know, hour and a half, 2 hours, where we fill in the actual templates on that case.
yeah, unless you feel like you want time in between to like start it yourself.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well,
Like,
I think Jamie and Katie could have a think and chat a little bit about where you are, and say, okay, this is a problem that we want to solve in our journey or in our product at this point. And once you guys have that, then I think it's just a question of running a session on that and stay focused on that. And if you feel like you need more time to decide on that, we could do another session on Ines's case. It's only these 2 cases that we have at least on the table right now.
yeah,
Okay.
I think we kind of just have to leave it up to the person or the team on like if they want help deciding on the case or if they want help filling it out. We can leave it up to them.
Yeah, well, it's right now just you and Ines. I don't think anything else is in the next foreseeable couple of months, unless one of the other guys pops up. It doesn't seem like Iris is going to have anything at the moment. Philip is super busy, and I'm not sure if he's going to have a case. Same with Sia. I haven't heard of her so much. She's also currently not available. So I think it's between your 2 projects. So we can have another session, go deeper into choice design with Ines, or we have another the next session is Ava, but it's whatever you guys want to do work on Ava and connect it to whatever topic. That's it. That's just
Okay.
one of the 2 options that we have.
Cool. So, all right. So now I missed most of what was being said.
Oh, okay.
But you know, I've pieced things together
Yeah.
as much as I could, and I think um, s- what might work out well. Well, as to what you said, Ashwin, with doing what we have, do our cases, you know, with what we have
Yes.
at hand. I think that's great. Start with what we have.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and Tom,
Yeah.
when you're ready with your case, you know, whatever, you jump in and
Exactly.
we'll go talk about that.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, I was thinking that as far as topic wise, I mean, yeah, me and Katie could go into our case, and it's probably be great to just have like the one session, just talk about our case, like, hey, this is what we're doing, you know, this is everything. And
Mhm.
and this is kind of great because it gives the context. It's not like it's going to be the same case, you know, continuously that we're going to work on. And
Yes.
so once we have this context, now we're looking at, okay, at drop-in, and you know, in these different contexts, using different lenses, you know, and so it just like applies further on,
Yeah.
and we'll just keep
Yeah.
looking at the same thing, you know, at different ways.
That will
different
be
pieces of it.
actually the best in the end if we get so familiar with each other's cases that we can kind of dynamically discuss them.
Mhm.
Yes, exactly.
Great.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
so
So-
yeah,
Let's meet up to talk about your case next time then.
all right.
I don't know, how about in the
So-
next 2 weeks, something like this? That
Yes.
would be good for everyone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
A
totally.
week or two.
Sounds good.
A week or two. It's good with us.
Great.
I guess a little bit later next time, so you don't have to get up so early.
A little bit would be good.
Yeah, just a little bit.
This is like this is Ted. This is, but it's good to be, but I like being up in the morning. So
Yes.
Good
be up.
motivation.
Motivation. Yeah.
Should we just
Okay.
switch the call to a
Yeah.
yoga hangout now and start doing stuff? Get your mats, everybody.
Yeah, I mean, people start with the yoga to wake up in the morning, afternoon. That would be good.
I'm getting
hey,
ready to wind down.
That fall in the
Go to sleep.
incentive box to show up.
Yes, the gamification box.
Gamification,
yeah. Awesome. Okay, guys, thanks so much for a good meeting.
Well, let's,
Yeah.
we can already schedule the next call with this group, right? And then the others will just inform them and they can also join if they want.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
A week from now, Tuesday, 4 o'clock finish time would be like what it is now, or later even.
Okay. Like it was 4 o'clock.
So now
Today?
it's exactly 4 o'clock, like 9 past
Oh.
4,
Oh, right now.
An
it
hour
is.
later.
Okay. Yeah.
or even 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
Would that be better for you guys? 1 hour after?
Yeah. What do you think, Jamie? That's okay with me.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be okay with me. I guess either of these is fine.
Ashwin, any preference?
Well, I guess we should keep the Americans' time in mind and
So-
schedule. So most days,
You know-
but later than today, I would say.
Okay. All right, Katie. Katie, what? Yeah, leave it to you. You got a preference now or an hour later?
I feel like an hour later are almost the same for me. So either one is
Yeah.
fine. And I don't know if you guys want to cut into your work, like daily work time, or if you want to wait until after, like later.
That's all up to you, Tom.
Well,
Well, how about we start at like this time? So what time is it for you guys? It's 8
Yeah.
8 a.m. Yeah. Well, I mean,
Yes.
I don't know. If it was me, I would want to be at 9 a.m. But if you guys are okay with 8 a.m., then
Yeah.
let's-
yeah.
let's
All
do
right.
that.
Yeah. Let's do this, and then I know we're also talking about like the the timing, the duration, and feel like if we start at 8 and say like I mean an hour, like like the max. I mean we would tend to go long, in our discussions. We'll see, but like say like an hour and a half to, if we went an hour and a half to 2 hours, it'd still be ending in the morning.
Okay.
So anyway, say like probably now. Yeah, maybe all right. Maybe starting at 8 at this time now, and an hour and a half
An hour and a half.
feels like.
Yep, sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna be safe and take 2 hours for it. But,
Okay. Yeah, that's probably
2 hours
like a
is
good
probably
idea.
better.
Yeah.
That's
1
good.
hour is too little for this. It just flies by.
So then
Yeah.
we'll have 1 hour to do the same as we did today for your case.
Yeah, and then
we'll
we can use
even
the
get
second.
our hands dirty a little bit, start working
Yeah,
on stuff.
and if you guys could, anything that you have for us to read before always helps to understand like the moment, or if we had to jump straight into the canvas or something else, then it's cool to get some brief on that. But I think also like today when you explained the deck, Ines, we had so many questions for you that it just opened this whole Pandora's box
Yeah.
of, but what? Really? How does that work? How does this work?
Yeah, what was
Because
that?
the user,
We could
so
do
that's
this.
actually useful for you guys as well to have, I think, Katie and Jamie. Because
Mhm.
also I'm sure
Right.
you've been just looking at the product like, up close, and probably not had people question it from a product design point of view for a while. Like, what are you actually doing, and who's the user, and so on. But you guys are a little bit further down the road and have delivered it as well. So that's really good. You have some clarity on your customer and so on.
Yeah. So yeah, no, that'd be great. And I was just also thinking this like sort of thinking like a mastermind format is sort of might work really well for what we're doing now. Like sort of someone in the hot seat, and what's the problem that they're dealing with, and then what's the content that we're jumping into, with to solve that problem.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, this
what's a
was awesome.
mastermind format?
Sort of, I mean, it's sort of just like this they described, but it'd be like a group of people meeting to solve each person's problem. And like typically people someone would come in like in the hot seat, or everyone can give quick updates on like what's going on, what they're doing. One person's in the hot seat, and then everyone like saying, hey, here's their biggest problem in their business, what's going on, and everyone else jump in to help them with whatever they can. And so really just expands. It's like a problem solving I don't know, machine or group, or it expands the whatever, I don't have the words for it. That's probably the
I
best
think I got it.
description.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ashwin, I think the summary helps a lot, and also just seeing some visuals of those concepts. I'm a visual person, so like even more so the visuals versus like the bullet points are like help me jog my memory. And then if we really do want to jump across all of these like courses beyond just like choices, it's going to be like difficult to like, I don't know, if it is like a buffet, it might be cool for us to make a real like visualization of everything. I don't know how that would work, but yeah.
And maybe we can do one at like Ashwin, maybe some like overall summary thing, like just like a large, here's the categories of things to choose from, of all the lessons. And then as we pick one for whoever's going to be in the hot seat talking about their project, is then can choose like which can just talk with you like, hey, this week gamification is really what I want to get into, And then,
Mhm.
you know, like and then for you, one at a time, you can make these summary, you know, cards for that lesson or last
Yeah, the
session.
summary decks,
Okay.
I'll anyway make them for all the lessons now.
Mm-hmm.
That was just something I skipped doing as part of the course, but I'll do that in any case, which is always there.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's
Okay.
talk
Yeah.
about this. Let's talk about this format a bit more. I'm not 100% sure I understand exactly how it could be like done, but we're super happy to figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
Yeah.
figure it out
Cool.
together.
yeah,
Figure it out.
yeah. But the
All
next
right.
session is Ava, and it's you're not sure right now. You're not sure which moment. Of course, you'll pick that, and then you'll pick. Will you also pick a topic to go into the next time?
We'll-
I'm sure
we'll
we'll
stick
spend
with-
I'm sure we'll spend some time in this general mode like today, getting everyone else on board and talking about stuff. But then, do we also attach it to the topic of a particular class, like choice or motivation or something else? That's also something you can
Yeah.
think about. You don't need to know that now. But if we got
Yeah.
that input from you, then we'd be quite ready to.
Yeah, for sure. I think at this point, let's just stick with choice because we've already
Okay.
looked through it, and you know,
Oh, wow.
let's make this easy, and yeah, and then the time after that, then we can talk about how we change things or go deeper into choice or you know whatever, go from there.
Mhm.
How's that sound?
Okay.
That sounds awesome. So I'll send you all the calendar invites. If Ashwin, you just send me over the Zoom link and
Yes.
we'll meet you this time next week.
Yes.
Oh,
Thank you
one
so
more
much.
question.
This was
Are
awesome.
you guys still checking out the Slack? I was wondering if we should still utilize that for comms or just emails.
Well, Slack for ongoing stuff would be nice because the record of it is there. You have the channels. I guess emails just for scheduling. But anything related to a project, Slack is where I'd go.
Okay.
Sounds
Okay.
good.
So
Cool.
let's use that.
Ashwin, you want to create a channel or let us know what channel we should?
Yeah, that's a question for
looking to
Ines
use.
because you can always post your project chat project conversation in the choice channel. Then what happens is whatever we talk about or discuss or work on choice, it remains in that channel, right? But if you'd like, Ines, I can always create a separate project channel for you, and everything connected to your project we discuss in there, and it stays, also restricted only to people. That's
Maybe
your
better,
choice.
yeah, because
All right.
then we are going to expand it beyond choice in the future, right? So then we'll
Exactly.
keep it there. But I'm
Okay,
sorry, I really have to run now.
go for it. Yeah.
It was so
Mhm,
good to
sorry.
see you.
Yes.
See you next week.
Let's see.
See you.
All right.
Bye.
Ciao.
See you guys next
Bye.
week. Bye.
Awesome. Oh wow, there's everybody.
Oh, we all left. Okay.
Everyone just left. That's fun. It's recording. Let me just